Last bite of your cookie now, all right? Okay, we will call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. So exciting to have Mary here for our first meeting. Leah here as well for our first meeting. So sad that it's Heather's last meeting this month, but here we are, right? So welcome, everyone. Everyone is in attendance except Brian. I presume he is off fighting fires. That was when I last talked with him a couple of days ago. That's where he was busy working with that, so we appreciate his efforts doing that. Do we have any comments from visitors? Any comments from visitors? I don't believe that anyone signed up on the sheet, so we will move right along. Next is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Dawn. Is there a second?
I'll second. I was hoping we could pull in section 7A, 4A, the business manager contract into the discussion from the consent agenda.
7A, 4A will be removed from the consent agenda and will be placed under, you want it under other? Or where did you want it?
Either 7B3 or it can go into, where is our other at? But yeah, the other.
Let's put it under, yeah, under other would be fine. Is that okay as far as the motion and the second? Mm-hmm. It's okay to amend? Yes. Okay, any other discussion? Any other discussion? All those in favor to approve the agenda as revived, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with all members voting yes. Okay, MSBA policy updates. The first is we are looking for an approval for the following policies from the June 26 MSBA policy updates. Policy 402, disability non-discrimination, 423, employee-student relationships, policy 507.5, school resource officers, policy 509, enrollment of non-resident students, policy 521, student disability non-discrimination, policy 524, internet technology and cell phone acceptable use and safety, policy 613, graduation requirements, 621, literacy and the READ Act, 709, student transportation safety, 722, public data requests, and policy 208, development, adoption, and implementation of policies. Is there anything else you would like to add, Mary?
No, these are just what every year you approve these ones in the June ones that are just MSBA requirements. So usually there's a first and a second, but these can be adopted on the first reading if you so choose.
I'll make a motion to approve all of the policies listed under 6A, 1 through 11.
Motion by Holly, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Dawn, any discussion?
I think the only thing, typically when there are changes made, they're just changes that MSBA has indicated that need to be made. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what we're looking at here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Any other discussion? Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with all members voting yes. Okay, new business. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, assuming that, or with the understanding that we moved 7A, 4A to the regular agenda, 8E2 under other?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Motion by Holly to approve the consent agenda as revised.
I'll second.
Second by Jen. Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries with all members voting yes. Okay, that gets us down. This might be record time.
Don't say it.
Yeah, right? Okay, so I think we are now down to 7B, correct? Discussion items. Is that where everyone is? Okay.
Yep.
All right, discuss the 26-27 handbooks. Mary?
Yeah, so all of you had a chance to, at least to start to review those. In my past districts, we've always done a first reading in July and a final in August, which gives you a month to kind of look at them. Both principals and Jim are here as well. Is there any questions that you had? If you haven't had a chance to review them, it's totally fine. But I do know that that's kind of where we started our work, just getting those ready to go and be in front of you so you had time to review them. So is there any questions that you have of the principals or from the activities or dean of students? And if you don't have time, if you haven't had, just make sure you email them and ask them so that we could get any corrections on, because we will ask for a final approval at the August board meeting. So I know that's a little bit different than what you've done, but like Cindy said,
Yeah.
it's okay to change some things for me, so that's just what I'm used to, and Leah starting fresh, I think it's just a good, June we kind of settle down and we have to clear our heads to start to think about the next year, so I just think that's a logical time frame for our admin team, so.
The only question that I have is that if we don't approve them until August, it's so close to the beginning of the school year. So.
Yeah, and everything with it being electronically and online now and emailed out,
It should be okay.
we should be okay. It's not like the good old, where we'd have to copy
Yeah, and
100.
then mail them and do
Yeah,
all
and
that.
all
yeah.
that stuff, so being that it's all accessed on the website and different things, I think we're okay, but.
And there doesn't look like there's a ton of changes. I know that they had gone through a full overhaul that last
Years
year.
ago.
So, I mean, we went really in depth last year, so this year shouldn't be quite as much.
There's only one major change, and I don't know if it's a major change. It's in the attendance policy, which we'll have to change the other attendance policy at some point for athletics and activities. And that is, they have to be in school by the second hour, or they cannot play.
So we're just trying to make it more, where it used to be the last 3 periods of the day, now we're just saying you gotta be in second period and you have to attend all your Aiken High School classes in order to be eligible to play that day or practice that day. Takes all the confusion away that we've had in the past. They just need to be at school and in their Aiken classes. Unless it's a doctor's appointment, then yes, they can bring us a medical doctor appointment, but there was so much confusion in the past. This is kind of what all the other schools in the Great River Conference and Brainerd, we're all kind of very close to each other now.
And was
And
there,
the reason we chose second hour was just because of senior prep, and that,
was there change in the cell phone area too, or did is that the same as it was last year?
the same as
Okay.
last year, that 7th and 8th grade, no phones, 9 through 12 is between passing hours,
Okay.
that's it, otherwise no phones in classes.
And how do you think that went last year?
I think it went well. I mean, there's always gonna be kids that are using it, and, if a kid has to call his mom, they ask the teacher lets them step out in the hallway, make the phone call, come back to class. Usually it happened during homeroom, most of the time. Otherwise, I forgot my baseball outfit, whatever, I don't remember my mom's number, whatever, it was fine.
In our house, they called their dad.
Would you like to consider moving that up with the ages? I know you took it 7th and 8th last year. Would it be easier to maintain that by changing it to 9th grade this year, 10th grade the following year, to make sure that those kids don't have to be, say we decided to change the whole cell phone policy down the road. We're not trying to now rein in kids that have been given back a freedom that they were already.
I had more complaints from the parents, not, their kids not having access to their phones, than I did from the kids themselves. The most of the time, the kids that are using their phone is because their parents texting them in class. And that's why I try and communicate out, this is what our schedule, and this is when you can contact your student, or when they're able to contact you back. But it's really, the parents really have to not text their student, except for at lunch. I don't know. And I get it, you know, it's a convenience, you know, it's easy to, it's just easy now. It's, you have them right here, and you want to check on them, and I appreciate that. That they do. So it's trying to find that balance where we're not cutting them off 100% completely, but yet we are, when it's instruction time, it's instruction time, and we're not on our phones.
My discipline data was down 47% on cell phone disciplines from the year prior. So, and the number was staggering the year before. So we're definitely moving in the right direction.
Okay.
I like Holly's idea. I don't know if that's something you could consider now or later, but the 8th graders are already used to only at lunchtime before and after school. And I think it would be really good to keep going with that as they move up. But
Okay, that's something we definitely can consider.
I would like to be the devil's advocate. I'm gonna throw that out there. Because I think that we live in the 21st century. It seems like kids get cell phones in 1st grade. And I think it's really important to teach students how to use their technology responsibly. And I think that it's really important for students to self-discipline, that I'm all through 7th and 8th grade, I only used my phone at lunchtime before and after school. I'm gonna keep doing that because it really helped me out. And, you know, at some point we have to cut the apron strings. And, you know, and kids have to learn that cell phone usage rules are different in different places. If you go to the legislature, you cannot have your cell phone on. If you go to a courtroom, you cannot have your cell phone on. And so there are just certain places that you cannot. And so, and that's just my thought, but.
I think school should be one of those. I mean, if we want kids to self-regulate their use, then we wouldn't have to take them away from adults in the courtroom and stuff, right? Because even adults have difficulty.
Hey, I love it when I'm walking through Walmart and somebody's got their phone on speaker and I can hear their whole conversation.
Yeah.
Well, it's
It's
in
so
lots of
disruptive to their
workplaces.
learning.
They aren't allowed to have them, and I will tell you, those workplaces struggle. And if one of those struggles is because they were able to hold them during school when we are trying to hold their attention and have them focus like you want them in a workplace, I think that we should be teaching and modeling that. They're modeled the use of their cell phones in many ways throughout society, and none of them are making them self-regulate. So I feel like sometimes self-regulation comes from regular regulation of your time, which makes you realize that, hey, I can self-regulate this and feel just as focused later at home. But
No,
I'm not saying we need to change this today. I just wanted to keep this open in the conversation because I don't want them to have to backpedal and take it back away from a group that has already been maintaining on a certain way. So,
the only information that I have that it's worked with WAB and districts, one of my good friends and one of my consultants is a school board member, and they come in and they have they seal it in a container or whatever, it goes in their backpack, and they cannot access that phone till after school. And he said they had like 0 issues with the kids. The kids were like, oh, okay, all right. Put them in there, and they've had nothing but success with it, and he thinks that their learning has gotten better with that. So and that, that's a rural school like us. I talked to them, well, what about emergency? Well, if they have to get into it, they can just rip it open, they can get into it. If something happened, they can access it, and it's not like they've had very little issues with people bringing whatever phones, what are they called, ones you buy at Wally or something, they've had hardly anything problems with it. So he was really highly supportive of it, and it's worked for them. So I don't think they should have, I just don't think kids should use them from when they come into school to when they're out. But I don't have a kid here.
I keep asking myself why every time this
Right, I
subject
know.
comes up, I have an instant pushback on it. And as I have thought about it, I think the reason that I have that is because we have so many bigger problems in the world. And from a
But that's what's caused
big
them all.
perspective. Well, is it or isn't it? I mean, it depends who you ask. So, and if it changes, I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. I'm not voting for this. It really is not that big of a deal to me, because I think we can make mountains out of molehills, and we have other bigger problems to be concerned
Because
with.
Jim's problem would go to 99% drop.
Well, and it's good to hear that those disciplines
Then
dropped
there wouldn't be. But
dramatically.
again, I just bring these things to everybody, what I've heard from people. So take it for whatever it's worth.
Okay, thank you. Rippleside roof discussion.
Can we take that off there, the Aiken County chain of custody plan? Is that still on?
That was further up
Oh, is that?
in the,
Okay.
if you'd
Oh,
like to
you
talk
moved it
about
up.
that, we
Okay.
can.
I have an old one that I evidently did print off and then watch it. Okay, perfect. I'll send it on. So Rippleside roof discussion. So have been up on the roof. I think we did late. I got a quote late. We took some samples this morning. Highly concerned about the areas in which the classrooms are still leaking, right? And so I know that we have money to do it next spring, and we have phases. But what I would propose is that we fix that section. And the quote was for $43,000. We fix that section so that that classroom can be put back into place in the correct manner. And then they would continue on from there. So it wouldn't impede or impact our future, but we could get that done. The cost is $43,000. I believe that we got that attached, right, Heather? Right at the last thing. The roof, when you cut the patch, you can see on the rubber, it's been there since 1988. So you can see it's time stamped on the bottom of the rubber, so we were able to see that. So it's done a good job. I mean, it's lasted a long time. But I would propose that we do that section, and then we can continue on from there. We can take money, that what we approved and what's part of the plan, and pay back. So you can, the resolution that you approved, you have up to 60 days to pay back. I don't know for sure if they could do it. The timeline would be the last week of August, which is close to the school. It's a small enough area though that it's a ballast roof, so it has the rubber and then it has insulation on the rubber and then the rock on top of it. So we wouldn't have to have a vacuum or anything. It's a small enough area where we could just move that rock off and get that replaced and sealed and really secure, and then continue on from there. There's a nice line that it draws down. There's a boarded vent or system that was there that's been cut, so we could actually close in that hole. And then there's just 3 other places where there's, things coming out. So it's not a huge reconstruction, but I think it would be a positive plan to move that forward. It's just a discussion. It's something that I did get the quote done today, but just wanted to have a discussion with all of you. And I know we're having some meetings and we haven't had them yet to get me caught up to speed. But just after my initial walkthroughs, I think that that's a very high need that I would like to start with. So,
Mary, what classroom's underneath that?
Is that Renee Voller's class?
yep.
Yeah, that's the one where we actually had it down during the,
It's the leakiest part
Yeah.
of the
Yep.
roof.
And we haven't gone out for bid yet on the larger full project, correct?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Did ICS have any comments on this?
Yep, they were up there with me today.
Okay,
Yeah.
and they
They
think
agreed
it's cool?
with-
Okay,
They agree with what that would be a proposal. It is, it is Heather and I had a conversation too, and it is under Sourcewell, so it's already went out for state bid they're one of the approved contractors. So we can move.
So
forward.
who's
So that's the
gonna-
other thing that
it's Thielen.
yeah, I know it's Thielen, but who's gonna act as their project coordinator manager from our end when they're there?
his name is Damien.
I mean, so ICS is gonna do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Damien and Steve and I were all up there today.
So
and-
their scope goes into this part, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. It's just outside of what we dedicated funds for on our resolution, right? Or is it gonna,
It
is
will
it gonna
come
move back?
but it'll just be a
It's gonna be
payback.
payback, I
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay, all right.
That
We're
makes
gonna pay
sense.
up front and get it back.
Yep.
Okay,
So it is those overall costs that we went over. It's just taking a chunk
Yeah.
of that, paying it out of our general fund first, and then reimbursing out of those dollars.
okay.
I think that's really important to get that fixed if we possibly can ahead of time, because that is one of our worst spots. And those are some of our vulnerable kids inside.
Yeah, that's a
That's phase
50
two.
gallon garbage can collecting the water instead of a 25 gallon.
Yeah.
It was my number one area that I have a number two too, but if we could start with that number one, that would be wonderful.
I'm okay with it as long as it's all kosher within all of the guidelines for what we've approved and the bidding requirements, and it won't negatively impact our project that we have planned already, so.
No, it would just be starting on it just a little. Sometimes in phases, it's actually easy, when you're not disrupting everything, so.
Well, I think it's an emergency type of a decision that we're doing here. So,
And I just don't
and a
want to,
timeline,
if we're gonna
yeah.
like today when we were up there, we found 2 leaks, just me walking, and water sprung out. We patched that, I'm like, okay, we need to get this portion done and complete that room below it, so.
So would you need a motion from us?
If you feel confident that we can do that tonight, I didn't know if we wanted to wait, or it would be the end of August, just in talking with them, that's the earliest they could do it, and I know you and I will have to do some communication with your staff, but I definitely think we need to get that.
But they would have to schedule it. I mean, they need this time period
Yep.
to schedule
Yep.
it.
I think we need to offer them. I'll move that we move ahead with that small section and get it done before school starts, or as close to when school starts.
I'll second.
Motion by Don to move ahead with the roof project as proposed by the administration.
second.
By Holly. Any other discussion? Any other discussion?
Just before we finally pass it, before you go, I want to verify, because this is what was told to me, and those of you who are on the committee, we're going to fully adhere, we're getting rid of the ballast. And that was a
Yes.
decision they told me was made by all of you. I just want to
Yes.
verify that before, because I had that voted to fully adhere. Okay,
Exactly.
We're done with patching
We're
Yep.
done.
and Band-Aiding.
Okay.
And we want it
And
for
bubble gum.
real fixed.
No more bubble gum fix.
okay, just verifying, thank you.
Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? Motion carries with all members voting yes. Administrative reports, board member reports. Probably not a lot of updates in the summer months, right? Okay. Committee reports,
I have more of a question.
okay?
When is the next policy committee? I feel like it keeps never making it. And Mary, if you would like to change some of these meetings around, that's appropriate too. But I did pull the next one off my calendar because I think I'm on the wrong month. So I don't know. So we'll have to get those committees readjusted. We had gone to an every other, I see you have we had gone to an every other month. It used to be every month. And then in the summer, sometimes we change the hours because we don't need to do it at 3:45 in the afternoon because there's nobody here to wait for till that time. So I have not made a single policy committee, and I will say it's because I never know when they're actually happening. So I'm gonna need that so I can attend the next one.
So what we've done, and I'll just share with you what I've done in the past. We've done them once a month, and we've tried to stay during the school year and do this, the MSBA ones, and then take the rest of the summer off, and then start up in the school year. We've done them the week prior to the board meeting, just because that gives us a week to ask questions, gives the other board members time to review them too, and then kind of keep it fresh in your mind before the board meeting, because sometimes if you wait too long, then it's too, but I'm open to whatever everybody thinks is best, so.
Well, I'd like you guys to move your meetings where they actually fit, because I think what has continued to happen for many years is they come in, and because the superintendent ahead of them did it at this time on this day, it continues there. But you're a whole new staff, so I'd like you guys to figure out where stuff actually fits in your schedules, and then let us know, and we can discuss our committee meetings again.
And I'm okay with this is what I've done, is Monday night at 5:30, because people are done with work. It's not as late as a school board, gives you still time to have supper, maybe get to an activity that Monday before the school board meeting, so a week earlier. Does that work, or?
If I was a teacher on that committee, I would not like that at all.
I'll tell you, they don't come, so it's okay. They don't. Your administrators come.
Even if it's right after school, they don't.
Yeah, even when it's directly after, they don't come.
Yeah.
So you're usually, it was Heather, Dan, Jim, Lisa, Andy once in a while. One of us board members would make it, but I have never seen a teacher show up to policy meetings, so I think that one would be okay.
I think that this is an opportunity really to take a look at all of the committees.
Yes.
To take a look at who's involved, who wants to be involved. I think that, the first probably 5 years that I was on the board, the majority of the board members were self-employed, and so they were able to make meeting times that a lot of us current board members were not. But yet also recognizing that if there are staff involved, they probably don't want to be here till 5:30, 6, 7 o'clock at night either. So I think that it might be a good time to just sort of step back and take a look at all of the committees, who's serving on them, who wants to be on them, how often should they meet, where should they meet, and the time, and just really have your administrative team come back with recommendations, I think, to us as board. There's nothing that says that we can't take a look at this. I think that these meeting times and dates have been in place for at least 11 years.
Or longer.
Or longer. They have been this way since prior to my time on the board.
They might even have some of the same teachers on the list for that entire time frame that they have been, because a lot of the teachers listed are some of our long-term teachers. So
We
they may have
signed a
signed up at the
contract that it
beginning.
was for life.
When I was originally when I was first on the board and was on the policy committee, we did have many teachers that attended the policy committee meetings. But we were doing a lot of revisions, and so perhaps because the last couple of years there haven't been much for revisions, perhaps hasn't been a priority. If it's a lot of the same people on multiple committees, right? So I think it would be worth taking a look at the entire thing and getting a lot of feedback and then letting us know what ideas you have or what works. And
Yeah, and I've been used to where the board, we're all working, and so unless it was a safety committee where you have like a vendor coming in or something, I'm used to them being in the evening just because everybody has jobs. But
yeah.
I would be able to attend more if it were in the evening, but that's because I don't work here, so.
Yeah. Okay, principals report. Ms. Olk, would you like to go first?
So starting week 3, I really appreciate the warm welcome that I've received being at Rippleside. I sent out an email to staff to see if they wanted to get together and meet and see some of their goals for the year, things that they're proud of at Rippleside, just so it kind of gave me an idea of where we're going to take our year. And so far I've met with 15 staff members, with 12 more scheduled for the next few weeks. I also want to honor their time when they're on summer break, so I was really surprised to see 15 already have met with me. And some of the common themes that I'm seeing so far is the passion and care for students at Rippleside and doing what's best for our students, and a lot of excitement for the next year. And it makes me really excited to see where our year is going to go.
Good, thank you, welcome. Ms. Demars?
Yeah, it's been a great couple of weeks with Leah and Mary. It's been very fun to get together and get to know each other. And I just want to say that we have, as of right today, 59.5 credits earned from summer school for our students, which is the highest we have had since I've been here, which is fantastic. That there's been so many kids that are recovering those credits. So that's been wonderful. Just a couple of things I know in the report that I shared with you guys. The first day of school is September 8th, and picture day at the high school on that day. Open house will be September 2nd from 4 to 6. And then the state event, I shared that out with everybody in the email. CAPS, they put on an event every year for suicide prevention and awareness. And so that they have a speaker at the terrace in the afternoon that day, and then they have the 5K run, and I believe it's in conjunction with some other event going on.
Riverboat Days, I bet.
Riverboat Days, I think.
Is it August 1st?
Yeah.
August 1st.
Yeah, that's Riverboat Days, and I know there is a walk that day,
So
so.
they've been doing that. I have not been able to attend the meetings because whenever they set the meeting, I plan to go and then something comes up. So but I've heard Ivan is doing a great job. I have not met Ivan yet, but I've heard that he's doing a great job. And then one other thing that I need to mention is the American Parent Advisory Council met June 22nd, and we had our vote of concurrence. And vote of concurrence is we have a list of goals on supporting post-secondary students, supporting the academic achievement of American Indian students, making curriculum relevant to the needs, interests, and cultural heritage of American Indian pupils, providing positive reinforcement of the self-image of American Indian pupils, develop intercultural awareness among pupils, parents, and staff, and supplement, not supplant, state and federal education and co-curricular programs. So at our meeting, we talked through each of these goals, we discussed where we're at with those goals, and then they voted that we are in concurrence with moving forward, and they accept they accept the progress that we're making as of right now, and they are hopeful that we will continue to make that progress. When I looked at our goal last year, because when we meet for vote of concurrence, we never have the data to say this is how our students are doing in math and reading on our MCAs, which is our snapshot of how our American Indian students are doing. We went from 13% to 52% with our American Indian students on meeting that academic goals. So I think that's a really good acknowledgement that what we're doing is meeting the needs of our American Indian students as well as all of our other students as well. So that was just fun to see.
Yeah, good, thank you. Okay, Ms. Henline.
I don't have a ton to report. Paul Exon's at print, so that'll hit the mailboxes on August 1st. Last week, we did send a group of kids over to Lum Park on Tuesday. They were supposed to go again on Thursday, and that got canceled because of the air quality. So I did that through the Grand Friends and sent a couple other people with them from the Grand Friend group. So that was kind of fun for them. At Missoula Children's Theater is next week here at the high school, and there will be a performance on Friday in the Performing Arts Center. Lots of different things offering free fall for youth and adults. And as far as Kids Club, still low enrollment for the summer, which has made it a lot easier to staff. But I promised people hours, so that's been a little hard because you couldn't get them the hours. But making a few changes to the handbook, so I will try and bring that back to the board for August. Nothing big. And then I'm also looking into the pay scale for Kids Club employees, because things are kind of all over the board, where we start and where we go and all that stuff. So looking at that, hopefully can meet up with Mary and talk about how we can change that to better serve the staff there. About all that stuff.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Henriksen? Yes, yeah.
So I just want to make sure, I've sent out a forced email through Infinite Campus. August 11th is our sports meeting. I will send out another email for that as well. Sports start August 17th. So like we're less than a month away. Just so you know, we're not on the website, we're trying to get Go Bound, so we're changing scheduling systems. It's not onboarded yet, so I sent everybody all the schedules today. All coaches have those. I'm trying to force everything out so at least everybody knows when everything is. But we're getting into the thing that we should be able to give everybody how to sign in to Go Bound and everything like that, so they'll get the schedules. So.
And as he says that just brings, people probably won't even notice, but I switched platforms from Elio to ARUX. Same cost for me, but ARUX will talk to Bound, so facilities wise, my stuff will go directly into, and just makes it easier for us for facility management. And they have a lot more things that we will be able to do through their platform as opposed to what I was using before, because they weren't upgrading the software anymore for Elio. So.
That sounds great.
We'll do it once instead of like 9 times.
Yeah. And thank you, Mr. Henriksen, for all of your emails. We appreciate all of the updates. I know that's always so many logistics to report on, right? So thank you.
It's nice for it to all be under one platform too, for our community members and for our families.
And Go Bound will give parents their individual sign in. I mean, the stuff that this can do within a year or so, it's going to be incredible. We'll be able to do all of our sign-ups through it, everything.
Does that platform have the ability to incorporate like the Remind app or what are the ones?
It actually has its own app within it for communication, all those kind of things, but we're just trying to be careful what we roll out all at once.
Yeah.
But that will be our platform by next school year.
Okay.
Everything will go through Go Bound. That's the plan, as long as it all works to plan. But yeah, it's amazing what this can do.
Good, thank you.
So,
Like 3 different apps for different sports.
I know, yeah.
Is it different schedules than that when we pull up too, or is it?
Well, the schedule
the
like
same?
on our school
Yeah.
is not there anymore. That doesn't even work.
But then it'll be the new one. Then.
It'll be the new one, but it's
Good,
It's
'cause
much
it'll-
easier to read. It'll be all those kind of things.
Well,
that-
the old one was horrible.
Yeah, yeah. I will still send out my weekly email because I feel like that's so much
That's fine.
easier for everybody to realize what's happening on Monday, you don't have to go to 9 different schedules to figure it out. I will still send that. I felt like that was helpful for everybody, so.
It was, it really was.
We'll have probably have a parent night once we all learn how to use it and it's all up to go. So.
One of the kindergartners
That's
might be
exactly
able
what
to
I was
train
saying.
us.
Maybe one of the kindergartners could show us how to use the app, right? Yeah, okay.
Well, that can be community ed class that Deborah put on, right?
Yeah, you'll be able to do it all from your phone. You won't even you'll get an individual app on your phone as a parent and you'll be able to look at everything.
Nice, thank you.
Students can even teach it.
Yeah, they will because they don't want me to do it.
Okay, Mary, your report.
I'm kind of like Leah, just getting to know everybody in the community and visiting different businesses and just finding the remarkable care that the community has. I have a friend that drove through the town and she's like, this is a really cool town. And she's like, oh my gosh, this is where Mary is working. So she stopped out in front of the school, took a picture, texted to me, was all excited for me. I definitely think there are needs, and so just trying to prioritize and not overwhelm both Leah and myself, and just really focused on communication and then the trust that we need to build back with some of our community and with our teachers. And I want to say I am an open door policy. Cindy and I met with a community member. First of all, she brought us treats, which was great, but had some questions. And what people don't understand is school is a very different business, right? So it's not like the business that most of you are so it's hard to understand sometimes. And so please, I welcome anybody to ask me questions. And if I don't know the answer, I will hopefully find the answer. But I'm really I want to do what's best for our kids, first and foremost, and for our community. And if you see me out in public, and those people that are watching from home, please come up and introduce yourself. Tell me your story. Tell me your why. I just really want to get to know everybody and do what's best for our students and for our community. So it's been fun getting to know and learn people and find the connections and get to meet with students. So that's fun too. Got to meet with a new student that enrolled this morning and spent a half an hour with them. He has many talents. I could demonstrate some of them for you today. I told him I was going to work on his tricks he taught me, but that's what's fun for me to figure out why people are in our community and how we can best serve them. So.
Okay. Usually in the past, the board has asked just for enrollment update, if that's something you would like to.
Yep, so I know the numbers that we gave, we're up 6 or 7 students since I've been here July 1. So prior to those numbers, but we're up a few enrollments because we've taken care of them personally, so that's been fun. I do encourage, if a family does want to meet with myself, Leah, or Lisa, I will take the time. I will meet them on a Sunday. I'll meet them on a Saturday night. I think sometimes those are when you get those personal tours and not a lot of kids around, or you can ask those questions and different things. And so they don't know this yet. We're meeting tomorrow, but I encourage them and they're doing it. But I will do it if they can't do it. But just, this is what the classrooms look like. This is what the gym looks like. This is, who we are, what we stand for. I just encourage people to continue to ask those questions, and the data that those two just shared, that shows that we're doing really good things. And I'm very data focused and driven, and so let's just not just make a decision. What's the data behind it to make that decision? So please send people our way, but enrollments were up since I've been here. So 7 enrollments is good since July 1, and we're on day 17 or
Great.
20 or
Good
whatever
job.
it is. Yeah.
I know some of the area businesses used to do, like, ask for tours too for their new employees or their candidates, their top candidates. I don't know if that's happening anymore, but that's something that used to be done, and we found that was, really nice. So that might be an opportunity too.
Yeah, and if businesses have any needs, I think that's one of our strengths, is even just what, I've learned from Jim and Lisa over the last, they do anything for our community. And so we want to continue that. We all align very closely and are passionate of doing what's best for our community. So that's great. That's great to see that. Mm-hmm. And I'm willing to help out anybody wherever it's at and take them on a tour and do all those things. So
Great, thank you.
yeah.
Okay, next up is the business manager position.
I guess I'll start because I moved it. I wanted to bring this out into discussion because this was, with Heather leaving, I know we're on a timeline, but this is a large compensation change and an entire role change by going with someone who would work from home, and then the compensation.
Maybe if I could stop you, maybe we could have Mary just kind of introduce the topic and sort of the status and where we're at, and then we could kind of get into some questions. So
I think that's a good idea.
that might be, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah, so I was telling Heather earlier today, just so you know, Heather's doing a fantastic job. And when I knew that, when Dan had to tell me that she was leaving, it was in June, and he was he's like, well, maybe we can convince her, right? And I'm like, okay, let's, so Dan and I were brainstorming, went, and then even after I worked with her, I kept kind of trying to convince her. In meeting with her and asking, what do you do for the district? Her job is really 3 jobs. And so in order for me to, yes, there are companies out there, and I do have the quotes, and I know, Holly, I will get to those prices of those quotes. Those quotes are only for a part-time. They would still be remote, or maybe be here partially at some points. And they wouldn't necessarily just be dedicated to our public school and have our best interest. They'll have to balance that between another district. And so I did. I explored all those options, and then we also interviewed. And so we had several of our admin team and some from the district office interview, and the candidate that we have is the best candidate. The only way that we can secure is with that amount, and I know that it's a lot, but I also know that she has the capability to do all the things that Heather does, where one of these companies wouldn't be able to. So even if we were to go with one of these companies, I'm still gonna need someone in addition. And then at that point, we're even gonna be a higher cost than what I'm proposing. And so if you talk about it from a financial standpoint, yes, it's a lot of money. But if we really want to get done what we need to get done, it's going to be even more money if we hire a company, because then we're still going to have people do those other things. I also think that there's a vestige, just like I'm here and here for the community. I think there's a pride in doing what's right for your admin team, for your students, for your community, and doing those things. And when you have your own employee, I just think they have more value and stake and buy-in. So I know, like I told Heather, when Dan told me that, I asked him out in the hallway before I accepted this job, because I know that this person is my right hand. And I can't do that. I can't do this role, and I can't focus on instruction and things if I'm trying to manage all that as well. It is a huge business. It's a multi-million-dollar business running a school. And you ask any exec what they have. Like my one friend's like, I have 10 employees and I have 3 assistants. I'm like, all the business world, like, I have all I can do to just smile and nod, and I'm so sorry. It is a huge role. So I know, but I'm going to tell you that this person that I'm bringing forward has extensive background in the HR, with financing, with writing grants, with securing extra funds in different ways. So I think that she would be the best fit for our district and our needs.
So what are the 3, you mentioned a couple, what are the 3 main that you said with Heather, with responsibility, that you see as?
That she's here at
Yeah.
the school board and doing this. In other districts, you're administrative assistant. Who's in charge of the school board? If you really want to do policy and everything with the school board, that's usually just an assistant. An assistant is just to the superintendent and just to the school board, and that's all they do in a role in a district.
Yeah.
HR, we need to work on our HR things. I've worked on it. I've already developed some guidance for our admin team. I've already shared out that guidance, what my expectations are. That these are the rules we need to follow. These are how we vet. We have rubrics. Those of you who are part of interviewing for her, we have rubrics. We're looking. We're doing everything that's right. So it's HR, and then it's an HR person in totality,
Yeah.
and then it's
Which we've
also
had in the
the business
past,
manager.
right, yeah.
So to me, those are her 3 things she's doing, which is a huge role. And I'm not saying it can't be done, and I'm saying Heather has done a great job, and she deserves that pay as well. I just think if we hire it, we're still going to have to hire someone in addition to.
So I'm not asking that we move this to a contract, and I am not in any way, this is not about the candidate in any way, shape, or form. This is about this contract. I'm asked, she needs this in order to come here, but we just cannot afford this. We cannot afford it now. We cannot afford it next year. We cannot afford the raises that will have to come with it. If she's already needs this much to come to us and it's on the far end of our affordability, how do we expect to hold on to her? Or is this just gonna be a problem in 2 years when we have to say no? And then every one of this $30,000 difference between Heather's contract and this contract has to go into our reserve spending that we're already $715,000 into. Those are staff, programs, and student opportunities. Every one of those dollars. So I guess, look at this as maybe we should be looking at a contract on a short term to find something that fits financially responsibly for our district. Because, like, as a business manager, I understand, but she should have seen that that contract is not affordable. And we had a highly emotional discussion last year about any penny we cut. And to just look at this and go, well, we'll deal with it down the road. Yeah, it's us that has to deal with it down the road. I want to draw it out into the open that this is too much. It's too much. We can't afford it. That's where I stand on this. That's why I wanted it to be in discussion and not in the consent agenda, because I needed to voice that. It is way too much. We cannot afford it, and we cannot afford it now, and we can't afford it down the road. It has nothing to do with the candidate. It has nothing to do with the need. It is strictly down to the dollars. We just can't. I can't say yes to it. So I wanted it out so I could openly vote no, because I cannot stand behind that contract.
I hear you. Are we in the same situation we were in with our speech language pathologist, where we had to use outside, like, remote services to provide the service to our facility? Or do we have candidates that are appropriate that would cost less? Do you know what I'm trying to ask?
Were there more applicants
Qualified applicants.
in the process?
There were more applicants,
Okay, but not what our district needs.
correct.
Okay,
Not for that current role of all of those things.
of everything that Heather has, okay.
I wish that this wasn't the ask of the money. I wish that the preference would be for the person to be on site more than what the arrangement is already. My day job is employment and labor law, right? So this is something that I encounter, employment contracts and things like that. I've done it for 2 decades. So from my perspective, we have a new superintendent. We have a new elementary principal. We have activities director who is already serving also as the dean of students and, working 2 jobs essentially. We have a brand new payroll person. We have 4 of your seats that are up for election with 1 person that has filed to serve on the school board, none of them in this room. We have 2 lawsuits that have been going on for months that we are trying to manage. This is a position that we need to get right. This is a position that needs to help us. This is not a position that I feel should be someone that we can take an opportunity and time for Mary to take under her wing and mentor and teach and to move forward. I wish that the circumstances were different, but when push comes to shove, this is Mary's right-hand person. And the situation that we are in today is the situation that we are in. There are other districts that are also posting for this position. And so I don't believe that we are going to get a larger crop of candidates. I wouldn't be opposed to running the ad, one more time to see, but I am not opposed to this person working remotely. There's a lot of people that work remotely. 85% of court hearings are held remotely. Judges do not even appear from the courtrooms anymore because hearings are held remotely. Medical visits happen remotely. With the technology that we have, I think that it is completely normal and satisfactory that we would have an employee who would be able to perform the position with the skills that she has, the credentials that she has through the use of technology. It's not in the olden days like pick up a phone. You're actually appearing through, just like I do every single day in my job. You're appearing, you're seeing the person, you are conducting meetings. She is being asked to be on site for negotiations, strategic planning sessions, important financial conversations, truth in taxation meetings, audits, things like that. So, and would appear remotely other ways. So I don't have any problems whatsoever with the remote position. Many buildings in downtown metro areas are sitting vacant today because COVID changed the world and the workplace and the way that we all function. And in fact, the workforce has increased in Aiken County and in Aiken School District because of people who from metro areas are able to now work with the help of Mille Lacs Electric through their broadband and other internet capabilities, are able to now work remotely from home. So I don't have any problems at all with the remote. I wish that the money wasn't the way that it is, but for me, it is what it is, and I'm willing to make that spend because I do believe that this team that we have has the capability to increase our enrollment, to decrease our lawsuit expenses, to help with HR situations, which can be very costly, to write grants, to do all of the other things that are going to, that currently are our expenses. So, Don?
Yeah, let me first say this. I personally know the CFO of Carnival Cruise Lines. He works remotely. He can work from anywhere in the world. And I know Carnival Cruise Lines is not the same as a school district, but it's an enormous organization to be the CFO of. And, I think the remote thing doesn't bother me. I've telecommuted since the 90s. I telecommute now because I'm not a full-time pastor in this community. I work part-time for the larger organization, and it's all telecommute. And so I spend a lot of time on Zoom meetings and doing the work remotely, and it works out just fine. As a person with a business degree and an accounting degree, fund nonprofit government accounting is not the same as for-profit accounting. It's not the same as the work that you do in the for-profit world. It's very different. I question, this is my wondering. Heather would probably want to come unglued when I say this, but did we underpay Heather? Have we been underpaying people? And this is such a specialized job that I don't think we're going to find anybody that knows what the heck they're doing for less than this. Because I know I wouldn't do it. There's no way. It's an enormous responsibility. And I really question. I mean, it's $30,000, and when you look at the overall budget, it's a drop in the bucket. But it's also a good part of a new teacher's salary or increases that could go to staff. But the reality of it is that if we don't have a decent business manager, we're not gonna have any staff and we're not gonna have any students. I mean, this is a behind-the-scenes person, and if we don't get it right, we're gonna be in bigger trouble.
Can I mention just quick, just to clarify, it is over $50,000 with salaries and benefits increase? So not just the salary part of it, it's well, 50,000 plus.
Yeah, I need to point out that we were having a discussion about moving third grade, our new fourth graders, into 4 classrooms, and the biggest pushback was a teacher salary. And we are literally just throwing basically a teacher salary at this and being like, because we don't have a lot of time, guys, you know? Well, that's where I come into the problem. In the budget, it's easy to spend here, and then we fight to spend on our children and on the actual education. It really bothers me. Like, you guys hear it in my voice. It bothers me that we still are not having the conversation about those children getting into right-sized classrooms, but we will just be like, well, this isn't necessary. Why? Why is this necessary and that spending isn't? I mean, we're gonna come to the end of this. We're gonna have our vote. The decision's gonna be made, but I had to voice my opinion. I wasn't letting this go by quietly. I just cannot look at this when I know what's gonna come up on the budget, what's gonna come up on those chopping blocks. It's gonna be people's jobs. It's gonna be kids' programs. It's gonna be activities. And to frivolously spend it right now, and because it might be someone else's problem down the road, is irresponsible of us. Even if you're not gonna be here the next round, even if you're not gonna be here, you shouldn't be leaving something that you see is going to be a financial problem down the road. Everyone's job at this table, whether you stay for another 4 years or you don't, is that you leave this place better than you found it. Not just with your blinders on to be like, well, at least I don't have to look that person in the face when I cut that job. I can't walk out of here like that. I couldn't walk away from this. This is a lot of money. This would be a massive thing in any other spot in this district. And I get it, and I'm not a huge fan that it'd be remote, but that's not a breaking point for me. It's literally the money. This is just like when we had the conversation before we hired Mary, and we argued about where that top salary should be. We want someone who's worth that amount of money, but we can't afford someone who's worth that amount of money because we can't keep them long run. If she needs this now, how are we ever gonna hold on to her down the road? We will not have more money, okay? That's the way we should be always looking at this as a school district. Not that our budget's gonna get bigger next year, because it most likely won't. We should always be looking at it like that. Where can we make sure we're gonna do the best decision now, so we're not trying to clean up messes down the road? So that's where I sit on it.
I get what you're saying, but to Cindy's point, we are cleaning up messes that we may not have had we had a dedicated HR person, right? Like, that's a huge part of something that we need. And how many thousands of dollars have we spent because we didn't have one?
But you're still hiring a business manager. You're still asking her to do all 3 jobs. So you're not gonna have a dedicated HR person unless we are having the discussion of a dedicated HR person, a dedicated assistant. What we are having a discussion about is Heather's job getting paid $50,000 more and not being in person. I'm in that office doing my bills often. Heather's office is visited far more often than Dan's was. I'll be honest. Heather's is a revolving door of constant people, of constant need, of constant answers. When I have a question, Heather was the first stop. Dan was the second, because I'm always there for money. That relationship, I watched her and listened to her discuss from every department, from your classroom teacher to your janitor to your lunch lady to the person who ran the concession stands. They sit in Heather's office. This is like, she does too much. We should have paid her more. We could be hanging on to her. That would be great. This would be a far different discussion if you were asking me to pay Heather more money to stay. because Heather's in there, she's already fully understanding. I look at these contractors on the outside as not a permanent solution, but as a breather to actually make a decision when we don't feel like our feet are on the fire because we're not gonna have a business manager in 11 days. I do understand that. Maybe it would be good for us to have an outside person look at all of our stuff. That's deeper than an audit. They're gonna literally look at everything. Maybe we will see things that an actual employee of the district would never bring forward. That would never say straight to our faces that this company's gonna be like, look at, you're mismanaging here. Maybe we'd actually get information out of this end. And I'm not saying we have to change this. If you guys are set on this, that is fine. We are a board of 7. Tonight we are 6. It only takes 4. And I never feel bad being the odd person out. So we don't have to keep discussing to get me to come to your side, because I'm not gonna change my mind. I am gonna vote no on this. So if the discussion wants to continue, that's great. But it's not because, like, I can't. So that's where I stand.
I do agree with
Jen,
you.
did you have more to say?
I did,
Yes.
yeah. The HR part of it, like Heather took a lot of that on, and I don't know why you're leaving, and we don't have to discuss that right now. And like Holly echoed, I would have paid you as much as we could have to have you stay. But the remote part of building relationships with the staff as that HR component, that's what bothers me, because I'm not gonna go to somebody that I don't know for help. So how would she build that relationship in our district?
Well, I think that that's just like you and I had this conversation earlier today, but that is with consistent meetings, right? And having those virtual meetings, and Lisa was part of that, interview process, right? And how can we continue to have just like we're at this meeting now, you have people joining virtually and having those relationships and building them, and also being here, right? And getting to know, I mean, no different than me going around before the school year even started, was out. So you get to know some faces, but then if I had to move, say, hey, could I meet with you? Could you and I have a conversation virtually? Absolutely. But I do agree with you that there is that part and that human part that needs to happen. And then those meetings can be virtually, right? And if we're feeling like, hey, we need a little more time, then we can adjust that. But just kind of like you were talking about your SLP, right? Our SLP is a virtual SLP, right? And our kids, I was just in the hallway today with one of our teachers, and she's like, I really hope we get to keep that one. You know what I mean? And they were excited about that and excited about that therapy. And that's with our little ones. And so, yes, the world is changing. Yes, this isn't the most ideal for not being in person, but I also think it's the best person that we have.
John?
Mary, would this person, their only work would be with us, or would
Correct.
they be working with another district too? Okay. And that matters. That matters, because their full attention can be on what we have going on here. And I will say, Holly, I agree with you in respects to when the cuts were made a year ago at Rippleside, we went too far.
We just didn't do it right.
It went too far. We cut and there, yeah, it wasn't, it needed to be done differently. Let's just leave it at that. And now we're in a position where we probably need to hire a teacher or two. And so where do we come up with the money to do that? And then this is right in front of us. But I also do know this, that if our business isn't cared for properly, we're gonna be in a much, much worse position. I also know and understand from Mary's perspective that this position is such a vital position, not to discount the rest of our staff, because everybody is vital. But this is a vital position, and Mary has to know the person that is hired into this position knows what the heck they're doing. And so it's about it's also about trust, and it's about the person being able to prove that they can handle the job. And, you know, and money is money. My hope is that this is a person that has some experience with grant writing that can maybe help us to find some money in pockets of money in different places, that we can begin to write some grants. There has been some of that done in previous years, but my hope is that we can do more of it, because there's money out there. We just have to go after it. And I think we can make up this $50,000 fairly easily through some grant writing. Yeah, I guess that's, I think of it from Mary's perspective, it's gotta be somebody that she can trust. And I've not heard anything about, there were some changes made in the legislature about that seasonal rec money.
But that's
How
not
much
gonna
of it
help
is it
us.
coming?
We don't have an operating levy. If we had an existing operating levy, we would get 50% of that money, but we don't have
For
an
an
operating levy. So in order to access that, we'd have to run
An operating levy.
yeah, which I know our voters are not wanting to see our faces come back and ask for any money anytime soon. So
The districts that maybe weren't as responsible as this one and previous boards got, and I'm not saying that's one reason, but there's other reasons that they get into operating issues. We haven't.
we've luckily made it without one all this time, but
Job, you guys. Good job, previous boards, to keep us from that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna say that, so.
it would be a benefit now to have one.
It would be. We didn't know this was coming, we would have ran once
Yeah.
they begin with.
Jen?
Well, I always sit here and look at Cassie and go, maybe you should go first. You wanna go next?
Jen's talking.
Oh.
I was just asking how long the contract is and if it's renewable, if at the end of 2 years it just automatically renews, or we could revisit it if needed. And the answer was that it's a 2-year contract and we can revisit it at that 2-year mark if we needed to.
Yeah, I guess where I stand is I know in the co-op world, there are many CFOs that are paid even more than CEOs because it's such a specialized job that requires so much tenure and knowledge. And so I guess that's where I sit. I know that the 50,000 is huge. It's huge, huge, huge. But my fear is that if this gets into the wrong hands, 50,000 is going to be gone in a minute from mishandling funds. And also in time spent training from Mary and the admin staff, it's time that they're not dedicating towards their goals and their projects and working on instruction and those things. So I feel like we're losing there if we're having to train this person up that might not even be a long-term or the right fit. And so I feel like it's kind of this tipping scale where I know that the price isn't ideal and I know that the remote situation is ideal. The remote situation doesn't scare me. We might even see that it's nice to have someone who is away from the everyday happenings, to have a clear view on HR issues or things like that. But I think it scares me more to get someone without experience and get someone the wrong hands in the job than to bridge that gap. And I hope that this person, because she's experienced, and I know that Mary, you have experience finding grant dollars with your two minds together, that you can find a way to bridge that $50,000 gap in a hurry. And then we can,
I've already started a $150,000 one, so.
Roland?
So the uniqueness of where I come from is, I've been doing contract work for 24 years, okay? So the first time I did contract work, I had a 6-month contract to come in and run a marketing department, and 3.5 years later I left. But it was all about taking somebody and training somebody, but the client had to choose that person, and they never ever chose that person because when you drive revenue numbers of, 3 times EBITDA before, they don't want to get rid of you. But at the same time, I look at my household, right? So we both remote work. One gets up and starts working, and then she goes to bed and stops working. The other one goes, checks how good the corn's growing 3 times a day and isn't that disciplined. And so as long as the person is like my wife, that's better, right? I come from a different outlook on things, okay? Because it's my opinion that the workers, and I can do this, the workers, we have about 15 people in our firm, and I think 10 of them outwage me, right? Because I purposely built it that way, because I know I won't have any issues with them, I won't have any battles with them, they'll be happy, and everything goes smooth, and trust me, it goes really smooth. But it's not how to work. It's not how we can work that here. I think, pay scales, I don't think our teachers make enough money, but it's only from where they have the most responsible job of ever is educating our youth so they can prepare themselves for sitting here, for sitting there, doing stuff like you and whatever. I look around this table and it's loaded with great people, and we all got that from education, and we don't. It's for whatever reason our taxpayers, and especially in this county, see it as something like the prevailing wage I hear is whatever. I hear different numbers out there is pretty low for this county. So when you look at this position of what we're proposing to pay, everybody thinks, well, that's boy, they're going to be buying lake homes and living high of hog, which is not true in this world. But it's a real, to me, fitting in the community. What we hear there'll be some. There's potential to be some backlash of the salary. I'll just say that because I just know where that comes from. The remote part, a lot of people remote. I just glanced at my calendar, right? So I got 10 meetings scheduled this week at 1 hour each. So I got to work 10 hours for sure this week, and but those are an average of 2 a day. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's none. And then we travel. My office is in my truck because everybody sees us in our vehicles. That's where we office. And we get hired to do certain things. I bring up the first one is we got hired to do a specific job of running a marketing department that was a $15 million department remotely. But we managed it. I was 2 days on property or 3 days on property. But, back then we had email. We didn't have the fancy stuff. It was just email communication. We did it just fine because people are supposed to be working, and that's how the communication streams work. So I believe they can work that way. I don't know enough about our staff if they'll grasp that they can't just walk down to the business manager's office. They're going to have to, if the decision's made to go with it, they're going to have some systems put into place of regular, we schedule our regular meetings every week at this time with that client, and we're there and they're there, and they expect that out of us, and that's our duties to each other. So I would assume that would happen with the team. I would assume that would happen. I would assume they would have individual times of maybe 15-minute chats with different people, just to get things out, and an open door policy, basically an open digital electronic policy like usual, right, and things like that. I have no idea how the disciplined person is. I have no clue. I don't know, but if you're saying they're very disciplined in that area, I have no reason to not believe you. So, but the dedication is, and I think what Dawn says, we're very complex. It's extremely complex. Heather will tell you the same thing. I mean, this is this complicated business to run, and people when they see things happening or whatever, it's just focused on one thing, right? And they don't realize that there's so much more than just your issue that you have with us or whatever it is. Why are you know? And one little thing though can mess the whole thing up. So how that gets handled and things like that. I would like to see the person, if we do it here on Monday, on the board meetings. I mean, I'd like to see the person. I mean, I honestly would. Because I still am a face-to-face person, right? I come from old school that, you know, I'd rather go, if I have an opportunity to go meet with people and have meetings, especially the first meetings, I will not remote on a first meeting. I'm just telling you, I am there, and I am, because that's the way I do things. And if it was me, I would, if whatever this board decides, I would say I would really like to see them one or first two meetings. It's just me personally. That's the way I am. So there's just, you know, I don't have issue paying the dollars, but I can't put it, if I look at it from this community and where it sits with our constituents, that's where the disconnect is, and with also where we are with our, I've been called reserve spending, I don't like the other word that gets used. I hate that D word, right? So when you got reserve spending, how do we work that, and how does the architecture of our business and our math and our finances work? That's something I don't know, but you know, a good business manager, finance person that has it probably has that ability to be able to do that. But we only have so much to work with, right? So.
And be able to explain it.
Yeah,
right?
being able to
That's the other
explain
thing.
why.
Explain the why.
And how that is, and how that works. And I don't know if you can do accruals for different time periods. I mean, we would accrue things all the way out. And if we were in December, we'd accrue it the next year. You know, things that, if you could get by with it, I don't think we can do that in this world. But, you know, so there's lots of different stuff. So that's my, I am, and can contract work? Yes, it can work. We do it. I've been doing it, and we do it. We do it as a lane of business of what we offer to our clients. We go in and do the job, but we always tell them we don't want to do the day-to-day. So we've got to bring somebody in, and then the best case scenario is we work with the person that does us, and we strategic consult rather than do it, right? Rather than do the work. So, but our clients are able to either put people in there, or they're taking this and doing it at a thing. So, but we do the jobs, but again, it's not business management job. It's strategic consulting that isn't, I mean, it's pretty complex, but it's not something that has day-to-day things that you have to do or bring to the table for this meeting, things like that. So, but I know this. I know contracts can work, but by the way, consultants are pretty popular out there with all businesses. It's where it's trended. It's trended that way now considerably. The opportunities there are huge for people to do it, especially out of Aiken, and we have a lot of people out of Aiken that do that. People don't realize how many we do. And that's what I was saying during the whole past 6 months, is we have more people here that are professional people, such as a business manager working remotely right at Aiken, doing things like that. CFOs, I know there's one sitting on one of the lakes of a construction company who's a CFO. He's got kids in here, right, in the school district. And he, runs out in the cities a couple of days a week, but I think he's remote too. So, I mean, there's also that, we see them. My neighbors, I think 6 out of 8 of my neighbors that touch my land are remote people, right? CPAs, real estate people. I mean, things like that, salespeople, they touch my land out where I live. So the remote part, and the contractors, that's kind of the way things are going now. But we still have to teach kids here. So, you know, in the gaming business, us executives never, ever, would ever be allowed to do that, because we gotta touch the customer. We have to be there on Saturday nights, one time a month. We have to be there on Friday nights, one day a month. I mean, that was the requirement of when I used to be in gaming. Any concert, we were there, because why? Our guests are who we serve. So that's what we had to do. So everybody here is responsible for our students too, so they need to be there also for them. So I better shut up because I'm going. So, yeah.
I just have one other question. Has anybody looked to see what is the average pay for a business manager in the rural part of the state? Because if you look at that metro corridor from St. Cloud through the Twin Cities and through Rochester, that's a totally different ballgame. But in the rural part of the state, what is the average pay?
Yeah, Heather did send that information. I know.
Did I miss it?
I'm just not, I don't think to the group, but I had requested that information too, so I'm working off of the top of my head. But I think that this pay range was consistent with like Virginia, Esco, Hermantown, not anywhere near like any of the districts that are touching us. It is more.
But, yeah, they're similar districts, what you just mentioned.
It's all the ARC districts is what I sent you.
I'd be curious about like
And then I can answer that,
Staples.
it's, the low end is 125, the high end is right there at 140.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we're in the range.
Manager also, so.
yeah.
Yep.
There's one district on here for 140, Hermantown, and having 2. All the others are well below that. There's
So we're not like
30 districts.
way out of line. We're not way out.
You're at the top of the range. You gotta,
We're at the top.
have something like, you're at the top of the range.
Well,
And
but
that's
you
okay.
pay for the experience of a person.
But-
If they've got experience, you're
But
paying.
usually you pay for that after you've seen the experience, is where I'm getting. You're starting out at the top of the range before we've ever seen this woman or had them step in, any candidate at this. It comes in at the top of the range. Where do you go when you're at the top of the range? So that is where we're sitting. We started at the top of the range.
Mm-hmm.
The boards?
Trust Mary, the superintendent.
And that's fine, you can put the motion forward. Guys, I'm not, if we think this is a great idea as a group, we put the motion forward, we vote on it. We're not gonna,
I'll be a little brusque. So the boards that I've been in your spot, exact same things, right? And the boards that I've been on have went with it, but said, if you don't make this work, it's you, not that person. That's what I've been told. So I would put a lot of, the pressure for me would be on you to make it mentoring and lead. And I'm not trying to, just lead in the style of being able to make that the best person that we can possibly have for a district. That's the whole thing that we looked at. Now, they kind of threatened me.
That did seem kind of threatening.
No, but I imitated the animation of what it was. I imitated the animation of what I used to get from them, but it's kind of like, but it is your responsibility. So yeah, that's ultimately it is yours. So
27 districts, the average is 98,360.
So I have just 2 things. Roland, I have a link I'm going to send you. It's to a class on nonviolent language.
I was descriptive of what I took, not to her. You guys saw that, right?
next time tell the story in my direction. And then don't worry about it.
You're fine.
Oh, I know that. We're old school. We know that.
But on a more serious note, I think we have put we as a board hired you, Mary, to lead the district and to be the superintendent. And if you think that this is the right thing to do, then I'm gonna support you in it. If I, and I will say, and I can say that now because you've already signed the papers and you're already here. I was the one at the board table that said, I don't even think we should give this lady an interview. I looked at the resume and said, there's hardly nothing here. But it's not just what's on the paper, I guess is my point. It's about the whole package. And right now, we don't see the whole package. We just see what's on this paper. And you have had contact with this person. Other administrative staff has had contact with this person. If you all think this is the person, I'm gonna support it. And so I will move that we accept this proposal.
Approve the contract.
The contract, yeah.
Motion by Dawn, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jen, any other discussion?
We take roll.
Yes, any other discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and start. Dawn?
Aye.
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 I'll vote yes.
No.
No.
Okay, motion passes 4-2. Okay. Upcoming, anything else under other?
The only thing that I would ask, we had tabled the conversation about what was gonna happen to the incoming fourth grade, what was gonna happen in the media center, and we don't know what the numbers are gonna turn out to be for kindergarten. And we were supposed to have that conversation at the May board meeting. Was it May or June? June board meeting. We tabled it at May. We were supposed to have the conversation in June and it never happened.
We were
So-
waiting. I think, didn't we talk about that? We needed to wait for Leah to come in for them to get their,
Yeah, I think
the
that's
whole
exactly what it
grasp and the
was.
picture, and so she's still working with staff. I think we missed our boat.
Yeah, and well, and so we probably need to have some kind of an update maybe in next month's meeting, just to figure out where are we at and what are we gonna do?
Well, I'm disappointed that we missed the boat on that.
Well, I don't know that we've missed the boat. I mean, it's July, right? School starts in September, so we'll leave it to the team to look at it. It's not unusual. We've added kindergarten classes as late as August.
2 weeks before school
Yeah,
started.
so I don't think that we've
I was
missed the
added
boat.
October 4th one school year for a fourth grade classroom, so.
It's not
We
ideal,
still have
but.
that conversation of,
Can I comment on this?
Yeah,
If
please.
you're okay. We don't know what we don't know yet, so it's hard to make those decisions and see. You know, we watched the building operate for a day. And that class, as second and third graders has been that size, and then all of a sudden, unless we've had a huge fluxion, they've already been in 3 sections, and then now you add a 4th section in 4th grade. That's somewhat, you know, if I'm a second or third grade teacher, like, I'm looking at you like, hey, why didn't we do that yet last year or 2? You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, that's just a perception. I'm not saying right or wrong, but that's a perception that we have to navigate. The media center, I understand that and you've had discussions and just how that's working. I think we just need to look at things and maybe how we can streamline and maybe have a little more consistent schedule and platform. And then I'm gonna be honest with you, we're tight on space, right? So I'm gonna throw something out there. So I've already thought about this because I've done this, but we're tight on space. So what does that look like? Are there any other spaces that we can utilize? In my last district, I'm not that I want to spend any more money, Holly, but just hear me out. We did secure, you know, a church in which then we were able to move some things out to just kind of free up.
Mary, you can spend any penny you want if it's going to benefit those children. I will always sign that.
So I'm just looking at it, I'm like, you know, walking around it, and Leah's already had to have some tough conversations with some staff, like, you know, we need to share rooms and we need to share spaces, and so it's hard for me right at this time, you know, that's why she's having all these meetings to find out where do we start, right? Where do we start and what's the most impact? So when we make a decision, the first thing I'm always gonna ask myself, is it best for kids? And I can answer that yes. Even on this decision that you just voted no, I'm gonna tell you yes, 100%. And what's going to be the most impact for the largest group of kids too? Like, not just like, hey, this is impact, like how can we get our most bang for our buck? You also talk about these class sizes and different things. I've also written grants where we're working with the colleges and we get in student teacher, and you know, we can reduce some of those class sizes and look at things a little differently. We can do those things. So I'm not opposed to it. I definitely think we need to get our numbers because sometimes you may think, and then you see the whites of their eyes, you're like, oh, 10 people just showed up. I mean, just me, 7 people in this amount of time, that makes me a little nervous too. Like, are those 7 all 4th graders? You know, like then we have a problem. So we have to adjust that. So we'll have that discussion. We can add that to our list for tomorrow, ladies, to discuss. But we can definitely bring it back, and if there's one of these committees that has kind of helped with that, we certainly can. I don't know where that would fall and how you guys have divided that out, but we can definitely have those discussions or bring a recommendation forward. But I do know we already had discussion about it about noon today, so.
Thank you.
I also want to say that you and Leah have been on the job for 3 weeks. It's not even 3. Is it 3 weeks? It will be 3 weeks tomorrow. And in 3 weeks' time, you have done an amazing amount of work. And so I want to point that out. And by bringing the subject of 4th grade and a media center and all that stuff forward, it isn't because I think you haven't been doing the work. But there's a lot of onboarding and a lot of work. And I also think sometimes people don't realize that in these positions, they're very public-facing positions. You spend the first year to 18 months just getting to know people. If that's all I mean, there's much more that has to be done around here, but that's a big part of the job. It's just getting to know people. So thank you for your efforts, you and Leah and everybody for all the work, because it takes everybody to work together.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Poor Lisa and Jim, they get to answer lots of questions.
I bet
for
they
the
do.
two of us.
Did we announced the candidacy? I mean, it's kind of for applying, right? It always
That was
gets,
last month we did.
yeah,
it's
we
been in
did.
the
It's,
paper.
I mean, it's kind of a known thing, right? I mean, people that are interested.
I think it's good to say it again right now in the public meeting here.
Yeah, filings
Yeah.
are open. It's $2, apply in the district office, right?
Yep.
Till July 28th.
Till July 28th.
I wondered when.
Here's
the
your
cutoff
chance. Here's your chance
I
to,
mean, should we say something on our FB site or anything, or I don't know, from the district that filing is open?
I think people know that it was in the paper,
Okay.
but we certainly can.
all right, anything else?
Yeah, before we end, this is Heather's last meeting. And so we had sugar from Cindy. And I just want to say, Heather, I have really appreciated your commitment to the board and to the district and to doing the work, because it's not easy work. And I will also name the elephant in the room. It probably feels like it feels like a slap in the face for us to hire somebody and pay them a significantly higher wage. And I'm really sorry for the circumstances that we are in, that we have to do that. I do think that we were underpaying you to begin with. And if I would have realized that sooner, I probably would have said more and said, if we want to keep her, we better pay her. And so, but I am grateful for the time that you have given to us. And you have been a great colleague at the board table and given us so much information, wisdom, and knowledge to be able to make educated decisions. So thank you.
I echo that. You've been a great mentor for those of us with zero knowledge in school finance. And I don't think I'll ever understand it, but I'm so glad that you do. We'll miss you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate how calm you always are. Even sometimes when this table's not, Heather's always calmly sitting there and you can look across and she will just be as calm as she was at the very beginning with a smile on her face. And I truly appreciate that. And I promise I won't break the pens when you leave either.
It's just you that's not calm,
Yeah, I know.
so.
Somebody's got to be the one that brings a little liveliness to this table.
And I'll just say, my 3 weeks of working with you have been an absolute delight. And when I sat down to meet with her, and it truly is, you're doing up and beyond any person, and I've been in this business for 35 years. So thank you for mentoring me and helping me and continuing to help me. She said I can still call her and text her, so she's not going okay, but I really appreciate it, Heather, so thank you.
Yeah, Crosby's very lucky to have you. Thank you. Thank you.
My gosh, now she's
You
gonna
have to
be
wear
wearing maroon.
No.
Yeah,
This is a
thanks
part-
Heather, I'm not sure about Crosby, but
Thank you.
that's okay.
We can go on our lunch breaks.
Nobody likes it.
Yeah.
Any other
Somebody's been around
business?
Forever.
Okay,
Crosby?
is there a motion to adjourn?
So
Motion by Don, second by Jen. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.